Alright guys, let's get started with this second linked list assignment. So you can see over here I've edited this so that we're going to add a menu to the main method to allow the user the following actions. They're going to be able to add a name to the list, search, display, count names in the list, or remove names from the list. And then you guys are also going to add any necessary methods to the person and person list classes so those functions can work. I will post the link to this video on here once this video is uploaded to YouTube. But for right now, let's go ahead and see what we have to change over here to make that work. So what we're going to do is right here, we're going to do a do while loop. So that looks like this. And what we'll do with this is create a string that's going to be their response or their choice, what they want to do. And what I'll do right now is I'll just make the choice an empty string. Okay? And so what we're going to do in here is we're going to go ahead and print out whatever is we want them to be able to do. So we're going to print ln make a choice from the following options. Okay, and so then we're going to also list those options. Okay, so we're going to go, oh my god, I'm doing a bad job here. Let's see, the first option is one. Let's say add a name to the list. Okay, and then we're going to expect that they're going to type in add. All right. Okay, so the next option is for them to search for a name in the list. And I'm going to copy and paste here just to kind of speed this up.
I need crackers!
Display the list. Count the names in the list, or let's say delete a name from the list. Okay, so then what we're going to do is we're going to expect that they're going to enter some value in here. So their choice is going to be something that we're going to input using this scanner object called input. So we'll go input.next. And then we're going to check to see what their option was. So we're going to say if choice dot equals add, for example. Then what they're doing is they're telling us that they want to add to the list. And so what we're going to do then is we're going to call to the method add name to list. Okay, and that stuff we've already done. So that's what this code down here is. We're going to put that into another method. All right, but in order for to make this easier, what we'll do is we'll basically send that method input, the scanner, and my list. So we can just go ahead and add to it right away. All right. So we're going to add those in as parameters, or they're arguments when they're here, but they're parameters when we define the method. So let's go ahead and we're going to take this stuff that we've already done, okay, and cut it out. And then down here what we'll do is we'll put in a new method. So this is going to be public static void. And what did I call that thing? We're going to call it add name to list. Okay. And so then it needs to know that it's going to get a scanner. I'm just going to call it input because it's called input up there, and we used it in that code that I just cut, so let's just go ahead and keep using it. And it also needs to have access to the list. And let's see, what did I call the list here? I called the list my list, so let's just keep it as that. Okay. And now I'm going to go ahead and paste that stuff back in there so that as soon as we call this, it's going to say enter a name for the list. That's going to be the name. And as long as the name does not equal stop, okay, it's going to add that person in order to the list. Okay, so we talked about that in the last video, so I'm not going to go over this again. But then as soon as this is done, as soon as we enter stop and it skips out of here, it's going to end this method. Okay, so this is end of add name to list. Okay, it's going to end the method. It'll jump back up here. Okay, and then it's going to check to see, for example, maybe like if choice equals search or choice equals display or whatever, and it's going to get to this while condition. All right, and so we should make another condition here, or another thing that they can enter to get out of the loop. So we use stop here, we'll use exit up here. Okay, so let's go ahead and put system.out.println. Okay, and then we'll go exit to quit the program. Okay, all right, so down here we want to stay in this do while loop. Okay, so we want to stay in here until they enter exit. And so we want to keep doing this as long as choice does not equal, so we're going to go equals exit, and then we're going to put an exclamation point in front of that. So we're going to say as long as choice does not equal exit, stay in this loop. Okay, so I can't remember if we've talked about do while loops before, but basically the idea here is we want this stuff to happen at least one time. Okay, at least one time. And if we want that to happen at least one time, we can use a do while loop. We could use a while loop just like we did down here, but I thought I'd throw the do while loop in there for you guys so you could at least see it. And actually, this is another situation where a do while loop might make more sense logically. It's like, if you wanted to add a name to the list, we probably want to do that at least one time. So you could use a do while loop here. When we use a do while loop, it needs to basically know that choice is going to have a value. So you don't want to just put the semicolon here and declare choice and then input it here. Okay, you want to give choice a value outside of the loop and then change the choice value inside of the loop. All right, hopefully that makes sense. And then each of these is just a one-word thing that we're going to type in. Okay, and so so you can just use next. You don't need to use next line. Okay. So the next thing to do on here would be to say like else if choice dot equals the next thing in the option. So search. And then I'm going to have you guys go ahead and complete this so we can say like something like search for name or whatever you want to call that. But same idea here. You're going to want to send input and my list so that they can enter the name that they're looking for and search for that name in the list. Okay, so giving you guys a little bit more kind of rope here where you can try to figure this stuff out on your own. You need an option where you're doing the else if again for display, an else if for count, an else if for delete. You do not need an else if for exit. Basically, this while loop is going to fix that for us. Okay, some of the code that we have down here is going to go into those other methods. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. And other than that, I think that you guys are set up to get started here. Let's go ahead and run this just to make sure that it does what we want it to do. Oh, because I put in this search for name here, but I didn't actually create the method. So let me go ahead and do that so we can just check this. Okay, we're going to basically do the same thing. Okay, paste that in there, and we're going to call it search for name. So a nice thing that Replit does, it's kind of like when we were on Eclipse. As soon as you start typing something in, it kind of tries to figure out what you want there, and it goes with these local things that you've already typed in already. So you can just hit enter, and it'll fill in the rest of that for you. Okay, so then that's going to be, so we're not going to be able to do this, but we're actually going to be able to hopefully run this code now. Oh, one more error here. Name equals input dot next line. Where is that? Here. Okay, so I must have used name already up there. So what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm just going to comment this out. And my list should be good. Okay, so you guys are going to use that in your delete method, but okay, make a choice from the following options. Add, search, display, count, delete, or exit. So let's go ahead and try to add. Enter a name for the list. Enter, okay, so that's not good. Enter a name for the list. Let's see what happens if I type in Adam. Enter another name for the list. Okay, let's go ahead and type in Monica. Okay, so it looks like that's working. I will try to figure out what's going on with this, and that shouldn't be on there as soon as you guys get to this project. So then let's just see what happens here if I click stop. Okay, and then let's go ahead and type exit. And it says the list of names is empty Adam Monica. Okay, so this is stuff from the old first program that we did, but this empty is not good. So that's because of that little problem that we had up there. And I will fix that so that it looks better once you guys actually get started with this.